I remember my first introduction to unconscious bias was some research about the racism and bias of the well-intentioned. And it was this idea that you're good-natured, mostly white people, who didn't know they were racist. If you asked them, are you racist? Of course they would say, of course not, because it's not socially acceptable, especially today. And so what this research was trying to get at was the racism that you may not be aware of. And here how can we access what tools can we use to access this unconscious process that's going on? And then one thing, I've done this training before where, you talk about the, 300 billion, things that are going on in your brain all at the same time at any given moment. And your ability to track that information is impossible, hence why it's unconscious, right? There's things going on, influences are going on that just you can't track. And so for me, it was interesting because now we're talking about brain physiology, we're talking about how the brain works, and now that's the unifying factor, right? Because we're all humans. Race is not that important when we're talking about human brains and how they work. And if we acknowledge the kind of humanness of this, it's a unifying factor. And that's the positive aspect of it. It's like, oh, we're humans, we have biases, let's understand those. The challenge with it is that it sometimes becomes a way of whitewashing the conversation. So we're not any longer talking about issues of race and gender and other types of things. It should be, I think, a conduit for the conversation, but sometimes people use it as a way of, well, I'm just being human. It's not my fault. It's how the brain works, right? And when in actuality, it's because of the social kind of systems that you've been a part of that has trained your brain to be that way. And now we're asking you to be responsible for it in a conscious, intentional way so you can counteract those unconditional, those conditions that have been kind of shaping how you think and see the world. And to be honest, from my perspective, I actually stopped doing unconscious bias training because I felt like what I'm trying to do fundamentally is to raise awareness and consciousness. And unconscious bias training is just one of those tools. But I find that my work is really focusing on people overall, focusing on that awareness building and skills building and other kinds of things that actually, when you look at the research, that's what they're leading to. They're leading to you building skills and awareness and building relationships and doing other kinds of activities to counteract those biases that you may have.